All
All right,
right.
Elise.
What's
First
up,
first time
Nate?
doing this. Not much. Um, for anybody that tunes in, me and Elise have been just chatting about doing this for a while. We're both longtime CrossFit coaches, both level three coaches, and I know in my head, getting on and I would call it ranting about something. It's something I've kind of wanted to do in general, but haven't, gone on Instagram and hit record and talk about whatever I want to rant about. When I say rant, it's more of things that I see happen in the fitness world with my members, with coaches, and just things like that. That a lot of times are pitfalls I fell into early in my athletic career as a CrossFitter. So they really fire me up now that I'm a decade plus in with doing doing CrossFit and coaching it as well. So I would call this a rant session. Elise,
I love it.
tell me what's on your mind.
I love it. Well, we're here. It's the new year. We're January 3rd now. So we all know what that means. It's all about New Year's resolutions. And what's the top New Year's resolution? I want to lose weight. I want to get fit. I want to do this. So I think with what's going on politically right now with the food industry. Hopefully, if things move forward, I think that'll be a good topic to kind of rant about for today.
I think it falls in whether it's fitness or fitness, eating, anything, right? Everyone has some kind of New Year's resolution, and I think everyone wants it quickly.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think that is a pitfall no matter what you're trying to do.
Well, I mean, how many times have you been asked, hey, Nate, like I need to drop 20 pounds in 2 weeks because I'm going on a cruise, or hey, I need to lose 30 pounds by my wedding that's at the end of this month so I can fit into my dress. How many times have people come up to you and asked you?
It's constantly, it's not just that. It's I have a competition coming in 3 weeks, or I signed up for a high rocks that I haven't run for, and that's next month, and I'm going from 0 to 8,000 meters running and running fast. It's a million things. Before we got on the call, I was like, I'm going to ask you, what is your New Year's resolution? I'm going to say that loosely too,
Yeah.
because maybe you don't have one.
So it's funny. I was thinking about that the other day, and I don't think I have a resolution. I was talking with I was out with friends. We were celebrating New Year's Eve, and we were all asking what's our resolution. And one of my friends was like, I don't do resolutions, but I have a word for the year. And I was like, what do you mean? So she said that she picks a word and that's what she focuses on for the year. So last year, I believe she said was like appreciation. She wants to show appreciation more for just like her friends, her family, be like, hey, Lisa, I really appreciate your coaching this week. It was awesome. Hey, Nate, I really appreciate your insight that you're helping me with, etc. And I was like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. I never thought of anything like that. Um, so
Well,
I
it's
believe,
just mind frame,
yeah. And
which
I
is
believe
100% one of my rants I can go down.
yeah, I believe hers this year is, if I remember correctly, it's patience, just trying to be more patient. And I was like, wow, I honestly, I never thought of it like that. So I'm trying to think of what my word's going to be, and I haven't come up with it yet, but I'll let you know when I come up with it.
Well, I think if anybody listens to this, patience is a good one because if you, like you said, if you want to lose 20 pounds or you want to do X, Y, Z, it's going to take some time if you do it a good way. So I think patience is pretty rock solid.
I think
Um,
so too.
I'm someone that doesn't do New Year's resolutions. A lot of people have asked me like, "What are you doing? What are your goals for the year?" And I personally don't love goals that are like macro goals that are like huge long term. Like I believe I'm going to get to the things I want, and don't get me wrong, I do have things I want to accomplish. But I think if at least for me, if the micro day to day stuff doesn't happen, it doesn't matter in the long run either. So my thing is just kind of making the most of each day and being as productive as possible on that end. And at least for me, I'm a coach, you're a coach. I'm a big believer of the coach holds the line and holds the standard. So if and I don't get me wrong, I've been on the other side of this too. I think we all have at some point in time. But if I'm walking my year and I am not a living example of what I'm asking my clients and my members to do on a day-to-day basis, my credibility just starts to fucking fly out of the window. Right. And
100%.
that's for everything, right? It's for how I approach my workouts through the week, how I either scale or don't scale them and try to hit stimuluses that I'm asking them to do. Um, we just talked about mind frame a little bit, and your friend that picks that word, it's very mind framing. Like, am I walking around? Am I saying statements that are going to be adding value to people's life, or are they really detracting and like emotional bank account withdrawals? And am I eating well? Am I eating meats, vegetables, nuts, seeds, some fruit, little starch, or am I crushing fucking Wendy's? All of these things I think come into my mind when I think of larger goals, and I'm like, I have to do what I'm asking other people to do. Is it easy all the time? Absolutely not. We know it's all not easy, but
100%.
I have to hold that line, I think, to have the credibility and to be the leader that I want to be for, not just my gym, but for anybody, in and outside this space. So, I stopped the New Year's resolutions a long time ago because I felt that's me saying, "Hey, I haven't done anything I've told you to do." So just trying to be the person I want to be all year long, regardless if the wheels have fallen off or not, getting back on track in August rather than waiting till January, you
Right.
know?
You know that saying, do as I say, not as I do. That doesn't apply to us because like you hit the nail on the head, I think that we do need to lead by example. And like our clients, our members, for me, for at my school, for my students that I care for. I mean, I preach all this stuff to them all the time. We need to lead by example because if they're trusting us, then it's like, well, if you're not doing it, then why do I? It's again, it's that mind frame mindset, right?
And
Um,
and it's really not just us. It's not just us because we're a coach, right? It's everybody in the world because everybody either has a brother, a sister, a friend, their parents, especially, if you're a parent yourself and you have children, if you're not setting an example, that's teaching, right? And I think
yeah,
if I was gonna say if you're a leader in any fashion, which all of us are a leader in some way, shape, or form, you have to walk that walk, I think. I've been in
yes,
situations where I felt like, leaders for me did not do what they were asking me to do. And what did I do? The moment their back was turned, I was like, well, you don't fucking do it. I'm not fucking doing it.
right.
So it's so spot on. Like you have to walk what you're preaching, or what's the saying? I fucked that all up.
Yeah.
Walk your
Talk
talk.
the talk and walk it, talk the
There
talk
you
and
go.
walk the walk. Yeah.
Something
So,
like that. You guys get
so
it.
you touched on kids. You want to hear a scary fact? There was again, I was with friends on New Year's and we're talking about, I guess they friends of mine drove down from North Carolina and they were listening to a healthcare podcast. I'm not sure which one, but they put out a statistic that American kids, we're at a 67% rate for obesity. I heard that number, I almost threw up. I'm like, that is absolutely god awful. Like how have we gotten to that point?
Well, and anybody that listens to this knows once you get quote unquote fat, it's hard to go the other direction, right? And you're staging now children to grow up in their adolescence to be overweight, and it's just they're I think a lot of them are going to be staged for an uphill battle for a long time.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. But look at you watch I have nephews. They watch kids shows and what's on all the commercials? Soda, Doritos, Pringles. Um,
I don't have this
there's
number right, but I'm pretty sure it's like somewhere between 65 and 70% of caloric intake for like the youth is all processed. So you're saying two-thirds basically, we'll call it two-thirds, that's 66%. Two-thirds of the diet is not a whole food, is some kind of highly refined processed carbohydrate, aka sugar, and
Yep.
that's what they're eating.
Yep.
I had a friend, this is a true story, that when we were in high school, he played baseball with me. We took him to Wendy's for the first time ever. He had never had like a processed food like that. And what was crazy is he ate it and he was like, "Yeah, it was good, but it was like, nah." And like he just was never exposed to it. His parents were just far ahead of their time, I would say, on as far as eating, extremely well. And I'm not saying anyone has to be to that extent, but like when he had it, he was just like, it's all right. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't this exciting, glorified thing at all to him because he just wasn't. It wasn't the lifestyle he was raised in. So, it really goes to show, and that when we were in 10th, 11th grade, goes to show kids are going to go along with it. And this
100%.
and talk about kids. It's not just kids. If I'm with a group of friends that wants to drink all the time, go out to eat all the time, all of these things, that's what I'm gonna probably do. If I'm hanging out, and this is why I'm so big on cultures of the gym, if I'm hanging out with people that are not doing those things, that are working out 4 to 5 times a week, that are eating really well and stuff like that, birds of a feather flock together. I don't care
Yeah.
what your argument
100.
is. Like it
Yep.
is 100% accurate, and that's what's going to happen. So surrounding yourself, such as children, surrounding yourself with other adults that have the same lifestyle, or at least like want the same care of lifestyle that you want, I think is really important.
100%. And then you're gonna have that one member client in the gym that eats like crap. But now
But
surrounded
that's
by
why
all
they're
these
coming
healthy
in, right?
people, correct. They're surrounded by healthy people and they're like, "Ooh, you know what? I'm gonna try to do that. I'm gonna try to eat a little healthier today. I'm gonna try to eat more whole foods
Most of
instead of
us,
processed."
walked into a gym not because we were like, "Fuck yeah, let's work out. That's going to be so much fun." I know in the middle of every Metcon I do, I'm like, I'm not having fun at the current moment, right? That's not the fun part for me. We walked in because we were trying to lose weight, because we were trying to get fitter. I was super young when I started CrossFit. For me, it was, more about like sport back then, but that has certainly morphed, into what I am now. So everyone's walking in not having these amazing habits, because if you have all these amazing habits,
Yep.
in a sense, like what do you need us for? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And then some beautiful things grow out of that, like making friends and community and stuff like that
Oh
too, is
no,
all.
100. I mean, that's like that's our one of our main selling points, right? Um, how many times have people just like, oh, how many times they say, I love the community. And it's not just one gym, it's every gym, you know, they all have
Don't you
that
think
sense of
that's a
community.
controversial statement? Don't you think that's just like also a bullshit big buzzword? And I can elaborate on why I'm saying that.
What, community or,
Community and culture. Because I'm going to elaborate a little bit more on
yeah,
that. Like
elaborate a little bit for me.
I'm not saying every gym doesn't have one, but I think it's become a hook word in this functional fitness, let's call it. Like we know CrossFit for sure, but I'm sure there's other gyms that are using it too. And I don't know that like all gyms do it well, if that makes sense.
Yes,
Because
yeah.
I'm going to tell you my experience in traveling around, you know, left South Florida, got to drop into all sorts of different gyms, dropping in quietly, not saying I was a level 3 coach, dropping in, saying I was a level 3 coach looking for a job. Like I had both ends of the experience. And I'll tell you, the majority of places I could have walked around, took a class, no one would have said a fucking word to me, and I could have walked out with nothing. You're going to call
100%.
that community? That's not community. But I'll go back to, why is that a problem? That is the culture of the gym, and that is those coaches not holding a standard. Because if the
Yep.
coach is introducing themselves to people as soon as they walk in the door, the members will start to. Riptide was a great
Yes.
example of that, right? You guys catch people the moment they come in, and then what do all your members do? Hey, I'm so and so, and
Yep.
then boom, instantaneously making friends and building relationships.
But again,
Um,
that's the coaches leading by example.
that's the coach leading by example. If the coach doesn't do it, not a single member is going to do it. Because also we live in a world that, how often do you go say hello to somebody on the street?
Yeah.
Never,
At least not here, but there's other
never.
places
Nah, maybe
I've
in the
been
South,
to.
you know, people are waving and stuff.
Well,
But
my parents just moved to St. Augustine, and my mom, from New York, and she's like, "Wow, people are really nice here." And I was like, I'm actually kind of not surprised because St. Augustine, I mean, one, it's a great city. But it's just people are nice. And
my
unfortunately, where I am now, people are not so nice all the time.
my point being in that though is too is like we're on our phone, right? And we interact with humans, but it's like virtually a lot of times. So like somebody coming into a CrossFit gym is not used to people saying hello. So like they
Yes.
even maybe a hair caught off guard, but in a nice way. If the coach doesn't hold that line, it's sometimes it's a little weird walking up to somebody being like, "Hi, I'm Nate. What's your name?" You know. And I work at the freaking gym. I think it's pretty clear I work at the gym, and I've had people kind of be like, "The
Yeah,
hell?"
like, well, like
And I'm
this
like,
is
"Dude, I'm
weird.
saying one, you're in my space, so I'm gonna make you say hello to me." But like for a second, they're like, "This is weird" because they're not used to it. So it's like
Yeah.
if coaches don't do it, forget it, man. No one's gonna freaking do it. And then you can use the word community however you want. You can post pictures on social media and act like you have it. It doesn't mean you have it. So if any
Yeah,
coaches listen to this, you are the leader of that. You have to facilitate that and be the friendly one, or else no one else is going
100.
to.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, like I've had the same thing. I had to do I went to a convention in Louisiana, and I dropped into a gym, and I mean, I was doing my own programming and stuff, but it was definitely secluded. I tried there was one other guy that I interacted with because he ended up dropping in too, doing his own stuff. So we were just kind of chit-chatting, but like the coaches, it wasn't really like a warm welcome. And I was kind of like, ooh, but it was convenient because it was literally a quarter mile from my hotel. So it
That's
was, I
easy.
could walk there and back. So, it was convenient, but so I get what you're saying. It's a catch, like a catchword. Um, I mean, I know I've heard of local gyms around here that, my friends have tried, and they're like, yeah, it's definitely no community there.
Oh, I hear it all the time. And you know what the biggest difference is? Like members of my gym, you know, that came while I've been there and they've done, you know, free trial. The biggest difference, said hello to them in the first 15 seconds and talked to them for 10 seconds and just gave them a little bit of my time. That's literally first impression. That's the difference.
Yeah.
That's
It's
all. That's
a,
literally all it was. And then they're at my gym paying, you know, membership and they're good clients and I'm happy to have them and they're not at the other place that they walked in and stood there and was like, "What do I
yep.
fucking do?" You know,
And what's the biggest, how do I put this? What's the biggest selling point besides, equipment and all that? It's first impression. If you walk into a gym and, again, like if the person, if
I'm
I'm
gonna
walking
one
into a
up
new
that.
gym,
I'm gonna one
go
up
ahead.
that. The biggest selling point is the human being on the floor, right?
Yep.
And that if first
Okay.
impressions in that, I would say
Yep. Yep.
it's not. It's you're
Absolutely.
100% spot on. It ain't the facility. It ain't the bumper plates. It's the human being that's there running the show at that moment in time. It's that
Yeah.
first impression, like you were saying, right? It's good vibes throughout the entire time. Because I mean,
Yep.
I've certainly gone to places, you know, especially being a level three, where everyone's on their like date behavior, and then you kind of see true colors come out a little bit too. So I would say it's the whole time of the process. Like it's not
Oh
just
yeah.
I cared about you because you were a free trial, so I'm gonna give you the phone call or the text, or I'm gonna make sure you're okay. It's not just that window, right? A lot of places can do that pretty well, and then they don't. Once the person signs up, they're like, "All right, dude, good luck."
Yeah.
And
Huh.
then what
Cool. You
happens?
signed up. Thank you very much. Yeah.
The person the retention is 3 months long. The person's there for 3 months, and if I'm doing this for the reasons I'm saying I'm doing this, like of course I need to make money to pay rent and shit like that. Respect your coaches, y'all. We do need to pay our bills, but I want you to live a long life, and I want you to
Yep.
live a very functional long life. If you're in my
Yep.
gym for 3 months and then you walk out because I don't want to say people weren't kind, but like you kind of fell through the cracks. Like that doesn't matter how good I can fix your squat. It doesn't matter how good I can get you to PR your snatch or get a ring muscle up. I was completely ineffective because you're not in the gym anymore.
Yep.
You know, so if you're a terrible coach out there, as far as a like on the floor coaching people thing, we can fix that. We can't fix how you deal with people and how you make them feel.
Yeah.
That's going to be the most important thing, and then all that other stuff comes behind that, and then that makes you, even more super coach.
Yeah. Again, that just goes back to just basic human interaction.
Yeah,
Just
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 be
just talk to them.
be be polite and kind.
Yeah. Just,
I
like, I
remember
mean,
growing
just
up,
two
my mom
simple
was
words.
like, "You better say thank you. Everything, say thank you, say
How many,
excuse me." It's
let
simple
me ask
shit
you
like
this.
that.
How many, if you go to the store, do you hold the door open for anybody?
Yeah, if anybody's close in my
Okay.
vicinity.
Okay. Has anybody held the door open for you?
Yeah, but I would say not at the rate I'm doing it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, yes, I also don't live in South Florida anymore. I live in Texas, so it's a little
Yeah.
different.
Right.
But
I mean, I like
people
I still
do,
try to hold the door open for people. Like if they're a little far away, I'll wait. You know,
but it's
I try to
definitely, I will
show
say,
that respect.
if I'm a little far away, there's not that many people waiting. It's a skewed metric, I would say, on that front. Um, on a coach's topic, and kind of bringing this back into New Year's a little bit. I guess that's the beauty of just talking shit and ranting. You don't know where you're
Just
gonna go.
we just go off the beaten path a little bit.
New Year's is here. I know I'm running a nutrition challenge, and a lot of gyms are too, and people are getting involved in stuff like that. And yeah, it sometimes is exciting because it's going to jumpstart things. Jumpstart things. You're actually just probably going to be doing what you should have been doing the whole time. Um, if you're looking for a coach and you're going to hire somebody, I would say one, the coach that's going to tell you the hard truth and be like, "Yeah, we're probably not going to lose 20 pounds in a month." Hire that person.
Yes.
If they're willing to tell you a hard truth and they're willing to tell you something you don't want to hear, they're the ones that actually care. If they're trying to sell you some amazing magic thing and they're like, and I've had clients tell me this, no, well, this guy said he can get this done in 3 months, and you're telling me a year. That's a red flag,
Yeah. Yes.
right? Like what Glassman
Yes.
say the novice Chris was skip the fundamentals and skip the basics to try to get that. I'm not saying this right, but that sexy
Yep.
item done. It's the fundamentals and it's the basics that are going to get you where you want to go.
Yes.
So when you guys, if you have a coach and they're telling you something you don't want, dude, thumbs up. That's your guy or your girl.
Yep.
If they're selling you a fast thing, there's a good chance it's too good to be true. If it sounds too good
Yeah.
to be true, it's probably too good to be true. That's
But
something that's really fired me up lately.
also what happens? You lose the weight quickly, then you go off, you go, okay, I'm done with this 30-day program. I can do whatever I
And off a
want. And
fucking
then
cliff.
you get that fucking weight back twice as much, usually most of the time. So if you lost 30 pounds, you're probably going to gain back 60. So you're just screwed and your body's going through this whole fluctuation and it's on
And
internally
and
messing you up.
here's the other thing. You can be a coach or not a coach, and you can get a piece of paper out and you can say, what's everything I can do to lose weight or become a fitter person? And most people are going to be able to accumulate a list pretty well because we got Instagram and we've got X influencer XYZ that's telling you all these fucking magic pills on what to do. And I say magic pills loosely, not literally just taking stuff, like, right? And yeah, I can do all those things. That does not mean it's going to work for you. And the reason I say
Totally.
that is their life, their schedule, their family, social life, all of those things are very different than yours. So doing, what this person is saying to do A through Z and trying to cram that into your life that's already probably busy because we are all busy
Yep.
is probably not going to work. So like having the coach, it's going to be like, all right, dude, this is going to take a little bit, but like we are going to work on just getting in bed by 9:30. It
Yeah.
sounds so stupid and it's probably going to annoy you, but I promise you that's the first approach to take,
Yep.
Don't go spend thousands of dollars on supplements
Yeah.
and things like that because I've heard so many times and it fires me up. And if you get offended, I'm sorry, but I've tried everything under the sun and nothing works. I promise you, Pat Sherwood said this and I fucking loved it. I promise you, you haven't done death by chicken breast and thrusters long enough. It's like my
Correct.
new
Yeah.
favorite quote, death by chicken
I
breast and
love it.
thrusters.
I love it.
I'm like, dude, yes. right? Give it some time. Give it some time because at the end of the day, all of those like really fancy protocols and things like that, if you are not exercising, I don't care what you do, just do Zumba, go for a walk, do CrossFit, like exercise. You are not sleeping and you are not eating whole foods consistently.
Yep.
Who
Yep.
cares if you've got cod liver fish oil? Like,
Yeah.
that was just a random throw in
Yeah.
there. I
Just,
don't just, it
yeah.
could be anything.
But what people don't, they don't, what, it's about education, right? We have to educate everybody. So people don't realize how much sleep affects your hormones. Doesn't realize how much it affects your cortisol, your HGH, your, I always say this one word, lecithin, the one that regulates your hunger. Um,
Let, I might say it wrong too.
leptin. Yeah,
Leptin,
it's like,
leptin.
yeah, oh, is it leptin? Oh my God, we're
You're
so
making
bad.
me
But yeah,
question.
look it up. It's one of those, okay? So how much that regulates it. Like you need to sleep 7 to 9 hours. And for a lot of people, that is very hard. I'm somebody, dude, I'm in bed
I'm
by
good.
9. I don't care if it's a work day or if it's a weekend. I mean, for New Year's Eve, I was out until 10. Like, and that was a lot for me. I had to come back because of my dogs, because, the neighbors shoot off the fireworks. I had to like tend to them. But I was exhausted, and I'm on that routine. So my body's in a routine now. So when it's 9 o'clock, I start to wind down, I start to get tired. But a lot of people are like, no, like I go to bed, like 12, 1 o'clock, or my students at school, dude,
I mean, when I was a
they,
kid, I
no,
was the
but
same. I can't say.
so like, I mean, I get it, but these kids, so they practice. So let's take my soccer team, for example. They practice till 8:30. They get home, shower, eat dinner, 9:30. Then they're like, oh, then I have all this work. I had to do all my classwork. So I didn't get to bed until 2 o'clock. Then they have to get up at 6:30 to be at school
Do it
by
again.
whatever time. And they just keep doing it. And I'm like, guys, like you're damaging your growth. You're hindering your growth right now. Like, yeah, I was like, you guys want to be like, especially for dudes, right? They all talk about HGH. And I was like, you want HGH? Get your sleep.
It'd be
Easy
bed
way to do
early.
it. You don't need
And,
to take any of those supplements.
and and what I'll say too is like I've been on the ends of everything. I've been the person that stays up half the night, and I'm now the person that is in bed by 8:30. And I thought I would never be that person. Like strongly, like you go back 6 years ago, I'm like you're nerd. Like that's how I was. I was never that person. And what I'll say is like I've just matured myself and come to that. But if you're one of those people that's doing some of this stuff, and you're like, oh man, my house is on fire. I'm checking the box wrong on everything. It's okay. Like
Yeah.
it's good. Like let's just get one of them in control. Something you feel good about
Yes.
getting in control. And
Yes.
if you feel good about it, you're probably going to be able to establish that habit and keep it up. If you're like, oof, that's going to be really fucking hard. I'm going to tell you, it's not going to work. Like you're going to get through a week or two, and it's not going to work. Like with the challenge I'm running right now, I'm telling people, I'm like, yes, it's a challenge. The only reason I'm calling it a challenge is I just want you to know that other people are doing it too. So there's
Yes.
accountability
Yes.
out of the I'm running a small group. I'm not letting too many people in. I'm about to cap it and be done. Everybody is going to be doing what they're supposed to be doing because it's going to be individualized, right? And that's why I'm capping it. So even though one person might just be working on sleep and the other person might just be working on eating 3 times a day, at
Yep.
least they know other people are doing things too, and then that's going to be at least some of the support. And I'm trying to
Yep.
get significant others on the train and stuff like that too. But
Right.
it's okay if you're a fucking mess. Like
Yeah.
that's maybe why you're listening to this or why you're going to the gym. Like you're taking the first step already. Give yourself that
Yeah.
credit.
So, I'm gonna do a little like challenge too with just like a select few, because I wanna run it first, test run, and then I want to present it to my owner because he wants like a full plan, right? So I'm gonna do a little test run, see how it goes. And they're like, oh, like what are we gonna win? And I'm like, guys,
Nothing,
like
dude.
you
Nothing. You're
you
gonna win
win,
health.
you win habits to help for longevity,
You win life.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna
Yeah.
start saying.
And they're like, oh, and they're like, oh, but like, what about pounds lost? And it's like you can't go off of pounds lost
Dude,
either,
awesome.
because you and I are different. you
But
know,
aren't you
like,
going to be excited if you go in and you see your group of friends that hasn't seen you in 4 weeks and you have the pounds lost? What their first comment's going to be to you? Like that's your prize, dude. That's
yeah,
that. There you go.
yeah,
You know, if you
yeah,
told somebody, would you rather? Like maybe this is a good way to frame it, and I'll probably do this too. Would you rather me hand you $500 or me go the exact weight you want lost and muscle gained? Like obviously that's going to take time. Would you take your $500 or would you take that?
yeah,
There's not a whole lot of people in the world that are going to be like, "Oh, I'm that already, so give me the money."
yeah.
Right? Fuck the $500. I know what I want.
Right. No, 100%. Um, and I told him too, I was like, look, like this challenge is, we're gonna talk about just building habits. So I kind of like just went through, I'm going to go through. And then they were like, oh, like, don't take out alcohol. And I was like, look, you know, alcohol does play a factor. Alcohol, it stopped your body from burning fat, one. It ruins your sleep. I can go on and on. But like I know my clientele and I'm like, okay, we can try to like tailor it down a little bit. Let's cut it
Well,
back a little bit. Let's drink water. Every serving
it's
you
a
have
good
alcohol,
example
drink water.
of like they just basically told you, if I'm reading between the lines, that they're not willing to stop drinking, right? And is that good? Absolutely not. We all know that.
Yeah.
So if you go, you can't have this at all, even if they hang on for dear life,
Yeah.
like you said earlier, you know what's happening as soon as that
Yeah.
challenge is done, right?
Yep.
Now that being said, like every Saturday night ripping 9 beers, dude, you're not going to get to your goals. Like
Yeah.
I hate to break it to you, and I'm going to be that coach that's going to say like hard truths, man. It's not going to work like that. So
Yep.
I mean, being honest there too. I mean, macro. People don't realize alcohol is the fourth macro,
Yeah.
right? It's its own thing. It's seven
Yeah.
calories per gram. So like the only reason it's not on my Fitness Pal and Chronometer is we don't need it to sustain life, right? We
Right.
need
Correct.
protein, carb, and fat. So it's like it's its
Yep.
own thing. So when you buy a, you know, I'm not gonna get this right, a Miller Light, and it's the light
Yeah.
beer, and it's 2 grams of carbs or whatever. All the beer people are gonna be like, that's not it. Um, and you go look on the back and it's still 90 calories, but you go, it's 2 carbs, it's zero fat, and it's zero protein. How is there 90 calories? It's alcohol calories.
Yeah.
So people think just like getting those that are, light and low carb and things like that, like, yeah, it may be better if you're trying to lose weight and stuff like that, but you are still consuming excess calories. Calories in versus calories out is still part of this equation,
Yep.
and you won't lose weight.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I'll
And
tell
then
you what, right now, the source I've ever been is when I hit a Saturday workout and hit something pretty hard and I drink Saturday night. Sunday,
yep.
I am sore as fuck. And it's not because that Saturday workout was anything crazier than last Saturday, but
It's
I
because
my
you didn't
body
recover.
didn't recover at
Yep.
all.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
So that's a
Yeah.
whole nother thing.
People don't realize how detrimental alcohol is. And it's amazing what it does to the brain as well. You know, just thinking about, you know, I'm thinking down the line. Even though I have no like family history of like Alzheimer's or dementia or anything, right? So, but yeah, I'm okay there. But obviously, I'm still at risk. But the effect that alcohol has on the brain and it increases your risk for that, like do I want to be functional when I go old? Do I want to be able to wipe my own ass on my own? Absolutely. Do I want to be able to remember my whole family when I'm 60, 70, 80, 90 years old? Absolutely.
And play
So,
the play the
take all
trade
that
game.
into account.
Would you rather have all of that, or would you rather go, man, that those Saturday nights that I remember three quarters of it was worth it. I'm not
Hmm.
saying to not have a social life, and I'm not saying to not go out and have a beer. Like me and you are the first people that are going to crack a beer. Like
Yeah.
if you guys know us, we're going to enjoy that time and it's
Yeah.
good. But it's just like anything. And that is an annoying ass word. The moderation in it, right?
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Speaking of later in life, dementia. I'm going down a rabbit hole right now. That's type 3 diabetes. It's caused
Yep.
it's caused caused by excess sugar intake, excess
Yeah.
processed carbohydrates. And
Yeah.
for you guys, if anybody does listen to this and you got this far, processed carbohydrates. I am not saying carbohydrates are bad. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying shit
No.
that did not come from the earth that you get on aisle 7 is bad. So there's a very big difference in those things. So if anybody does listen to this and gets this far, I'm not saying don't eat an apple. I'm not saying don't eat a sweet potato. I'm saying don't eat a bag of Doritos. That's
Yes.
that's what I mean by processed
So,
carbohydrates.
so, so, so let's talk about processed carbohydrates for a second. So basically, anything that comes in a package, okay, is processed. Okay, so let's talk about pasta. Pasta is probably one of the most processed foods, at least in America. Okay. I've had friends that go to Europe, or our common friend that goes to Italy. Okay. She ate fresh pasta. It was literally farm to kitchen to fork, fresh made in Italy. She was there for like a few weeks visiting family. And she's like, I ate so much pasta, I still dropped 5 pounds. If you eat pasta here in America from a package, you are
I don't think it's
gaining
just the
five to
pasta.
10. Well,
I
yeah, I'm
think
just saying
it's
pasta.
a lot of products.
Oh, I'm saying pasta as an example. Okay. Because, well, and we have all these new pastas out there, chickpea pasta, black bean
I
pasta.
mean, there's
Uh,
there's definitely so that's a good I think a really good we've had this conversation like marketing
mhm.
thing, right? Oh, you're like, oh, but I'm eating
Yep.
chickpea pasta, and you're like, well, it's actually 2% chickpea, and then the rest is just pasta. But I also think, damn, I lost my fucking train of thought. God damn it.
Pasta, processed
Talk
foods.
just processed foods, talking about the carbs. Oh, there's so much stuff that we allow in our food in this country that isn't like allowed in Europe. And like our friend that goes to Italy and has pasta, and she's like, I have no reaction. I didn't gain weight and all these things because my nose will stuff up if I eat pasta from the
Yeah.
grocery store here versus if I eat something that's imported, I don't get stuffy. So whatever's going on, the gluten's different. I don't know enough to get into that, but what I will say on that front is it's like majoring in the minors. I think you have to ask yourself one, am I eating primarily whole foods? Right?
Yep.
If the
100%.
answer is yes, and when I say primarily whole foods, I mean 20 out of 21 meals a week, you're eating whole foods. And
Hmm.
that's, 1920. That's your 80% plus rule, not Monday through Friday midday and then the weekend goes off. That's not 80-20. That's more
Yeah.
like 50-50, and it's actually worse because if you did caloric intake. So,
Yep.
I mean, like truly eating good. Is that happening? One, yes. Then the next thing is like, okay, am I getting the best quality of that? So the reason I'm bringing that up is I've had people tell me, "Oh, but that chicken breast isn't," and just a million buzzwords, isn't pasture raised, organic, whatever all the stuff is, right?
All the marketing tactics.
And I'm like, dude, yeah, I get it. Like, I would rather have my chicken in the field eating worms, all that stuff. I agree with you. I don't disagree. There's a difference in those two animals. But if I'm going from eating at a restaurant and eating McDonald's to now cooking a conventional chicken breast at home, that is a huge fucking difference. And
That's a
like
step in the right direction.
your pasta thing makes me think of that because I think a lot of people get really tied up in, oh, I have to go from this horrible lifestyle to I gotta buy grass fed, grass finished, yada yada yada, all these things. And like, yeah, I agree. It's better. It's there's a better omega breakdown in those animals.
Yeah. Yep.
But you will still be a very healthy individual if you're buying conventional meat, a non-organic apple, and non-organic broccoli. You're going to be in a much better place. And there's a lot of shit on social media that's like the broccoli's going to kill you because it has. Is it perfect? It's probably not. No, but
It's one extreme or another.
what's killing people is the American typical American diet lifestyle right now. It's not the glyphosate that was sprayed on the fields,
Yeah.
on the vegetables. So
Yeah.
that kind of drives me insane because I'm going, we're taking people that have just this dumpster fire of a lifestyle And then we're also hounding them when they're starting to do miraculously better that can totally save their lives because they're not buying this perfect product. So
Right.
like don't get caught up on buying everything has to be
Yep.
absolutely perfect. I went through that. It is way more expensive. If you got the means, go for it. But it also
Yep.
fucking drives you crazy. Like you have to go to this grocery store for this grocery store for that grocery store for this. And I'm like, is this also sustainable?
Right.
I got to
Yeah,
that
because you
point
got to
and I'm like,
shop at
it's
all different
fucking not.
directions. So,
So that's a whole nother thing too.
but and then just to put it to a different perspective, right? So, okay, we all love Chick-fil-A. All right. Dude, their milkshakes taste delicious. All right. I indulge myself with those every once in a while. Their chicken sandwich, okay? What do you think goes into a chicken sandwich? It's chicken, it's breaded stuff, and then, probably like oils, whatever they cook with. Okay. The Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich has 52 ingredients.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if I make my best attempt at making that chicken sandwich, let's take the bread out. You're just talking about the patty, right?
I'm talking about, yes. Okay.
I've got
But now you try to make
chi-
it at home. What do you got?
I've got chicken breast. I've got probably some kind of oil, likely olive oil for me. That's what I'm gonna end up
Yep.
cooking it in. I've got, if I'm going fucking all in, egg, flour, breadcrumb, and seasoning.
Yep. And that,
It's
so that's,
five.
yeah.
Let's call it 7 or 8 with the seasonings that are in it.
Yep. Yep. And
And
then,
then I'm like,
like,
why doesn't it taste like Chick-fil-A? Because I'm missing 40 ingredients.
correct. Correct. But it's healthier. I mean, even you don't even have to use oil. Put it in the air fryer. I mean, olive oil is one
Totally
of the
could.
best is one of the best oils out there for sure. But
Hey, I went all in on my sandwich though. We're gonna
yeah, no,
works
okay,
on
yeah, okay, touche,
it.
touche, touche. But just to like how scary that is. But and this is
Well,
my
here,
problem too.
that's Chick-fil-A though. That's hold that thought for two
That's
seconds. That's
yeah.
Chick-fil-A. That's a fast food restaurant. I had this literal conversation with a member the other day, and they were like, I forgot the name of the place. They were like, so and so has fajitas on Tuesday, and they're $12. And I'm like, that's a sick deal for fajitas. And they're
Hmm.
like, and it's healthy. And I'm like,
Is it
hold
though?
on. Like, yeah, you got your meat. Yeah, you've got your peppers, your onions, and all those things. There's definitely stuff in that, like the Chick-fil-A situation that I don't know that's in there that got cooked in. But I was like, your caloric intake, if you made fajitas at home and you saw the oil that went in the
Yeah.
pan versus what they
Hmm.
just did at a restaurant, you're probably, I'm just throwing that out there, and I bet you I can figure this out. It's probably a 500 to 600 calorie swing. So when we're
Hmm.
talking about losing weight, you just added a whole extra meal in that's like invisible, that isn't going to make you any fuller, right? It may make you a little more satiated because it's fats, but
Yep.
you're going to add this whole other meal to that. And then on top of it, when you were at home, that you were probably going to cook in actual olive oil, they're not doing that at restaurants. Now you're getting seed oils and things like that. So it's not the most ideal thing either. So like that's
Yep.
a whole nother thing. Like I've had this conversation a few times. The healthiest thing at a restaurant is not going to match you making the same thing at home. And I think
Yep.
people need to understand that. That being said, if you go to a restaurant, you're going to eat, you need a social life. That's a part of health.
Yep.
There's better choices to be made for sure, right?
100%. Yep. Hmm.
And I mean,
Hmm.
that's going to be better than getting a cheeseburger and fries. So
Yes. Yeah. And and
when it's
and
time,
full disclosure too, like it's okay to treat yourself every once in a while, right? So that one Saturday night dinner with your friends, that's your treat for the week because you've been good for, from Monday to that Saturday night. Then you start all over again, or let's say Sunday to that Saturday night, right? Like it's okay to go and go out and celebrate your friend's birthday or whatever the
it's that
occasion.
snowball.
Yeah,
Right.
but just
It's
make
a Saturday night, and then it's like
correct.
Saturday lunch and night, and then it's lunch Saturday night, Sunday through midday, and then it's
Yeah.
all Sunday. That's the issue. Because like if
Yes.
you one of my favorite things to do is you got 20, if you eat 3 meals a day, you got 21 meals a week, right?
Yep.
Get yourself a calendar, put it on the fridge, get yourself a red pen and a green pen, and give yourself green X's or red X's. right?
Yep.
And those are your meals.
Yep.
If the majority of them are green, great job. But then
Yep.
that starts to tell this like much different story. Like when we talk about like 80-20 rules on are you actually doing that or not?
Yep.
So
Yeah, I think I
that's a
think
really good way to do it. And that may be too
I
much for
think the
you. Like
visual is good.
you may not be doing X's or green or red X's at all. It may just be you're getting vegetables in with each meal, even though you just
Right.
had a cheeseburger. That
Well,
may be
like
where you're
we
at right now, and that's
Well,
okay.
like exactly like we talked about earlier, it's about it's peeling back an onion, right? You're starting with one habit, right? So let's go back to our sleep. The first one is okay, let's try to get in 7 to 9 hours. Okay. Let's see how many days out of the 7 days, sorry, seven, you got it. Okay, you know what? I got it 4. Okay, that's more than half. Next week, let's try 5. Next week, the following week, let's try 6. Layer in that way. Okay, sleep is down. Now let's talk about another huge macronutrient, water, hydration. Okay, that's your
That
fifth.
shit's so hard.
Yep. Okay. So you start with a basis. You take your weight, divide it by 2, and that should be your what you know whatever number that is. That's how many ounces you should drink. Obviously, it depends on your
Exercise and
workout, your work. If you're like a construction worker that works outside in South Florida and you're working out at the gym, it's probably going to be more than that. But if you're someone that sits at a desk, you're working from home all day and then you go to the gym for an hour a week. Okay, so maybe that number may be a little bit more, but start there and then work up from there. Okay, you know what? I did that 3 days out of the week. Okay, again, let's layer it in. Now let's make it 4 days the next week, 5 days the next week.
well,
So,
it goes back to what I said about the shiny object and getting it fast,
yep,
right? Just because you were successful a week does not mean you're ready to move on to steps 2, 3, and 4.
correct.
I know I have done that myself where I go too much too fast, and it's like I'm doing 5 things and they're kind of all 5 happening, but they're happening at like 50% capacity.
Yep,
And they're all average. And it's the same thing in life where I can do 2 things and do them really well. Like get that down first.
yep, yep.
Same
And
same
and
shit in
and
life.
but and again, that's going back to educating and our clientele's mindset. Like this is not a quick fix. This is a long process to get down your habits so your body can adjust and so that your body can lose the fat, lose the
For
weight.
a lot of for a lot of coaches, we're missing this. It's the physical and psychological tolerances, right? And we can tie that to in class, you're about to hit a metcon, and what are we scaling to? Physical and psychological tolerances are in that. And then it can be outside the other 23 hours in the gym. What are the psychological tolerances there? And also maybe physical. Maybe the person
Yep.
literally doesn't have time to cook in their kitchen. Like
Yeah.
you don't know that, right?
Right.
So you have as a coach, you have to, and for yourself as a coach too, I have to do this with me, find where those both lie
Yeah.
and make your moves based off of that. And that's, why I brought up find the coach that's going to tell you a hard truth and find the coach that's going to give you this non-sexy item. I've had, putting it into the gym. I've had a few people hire me for personal training, and the first thing we do is let's start to work on your air squat. And I'm going to tell you that's not what people want to hear, but I will tell you when that's it starts to gel,
It's the
and
basics.
all of a sudden the front squat jumps up because we fixed their immature squat and things like that, and they're like, well, I haven't even done strength training and I PR'd. I'm actually one of those people. I've done zero strength training because I hurt my hip playing flag football. Be careful, kids. Right?
Oh, that's
Zero
right. I
strength
forgot
training.
about that. Shit.
Nothing. All I've done is work positional stuff to fix my air squat. Right? Mostly for getting evaluated while I coach. I want to give a good demo. I PR'd my all-time squat clean, lifetime squat clean. And for you guys that have been CrossFitting over 10 years, like lifetime PR is a little more, tastes a little bit better than this first 5-year newbie gains, right? And that
Yep.
was literally positional work. And that was me maturing and realizing I got to fix my damn movement patterns. Find you a coach that's going to make you do stuff like that. Find you a coach that's going to make you start to work on getting an extra hour of sleep a night, or maybe, you
Yep.
know, just eating a couple times a day. I can't tell you how
Yeah.
long I skipped meals and thought I was going to lean up. And guess what? I just got fatter, you
But
know?
that and to take into account that coach is a coach that cares. If you get somebody
It's a
that,
coach that cares and it's a coach that shows maturity in what they do.
yes,
And I think honestly, expertise in what they do. And I'm going to tie both of
yes,
those. The maturity thing is I will never, if I do this, it'll be the day I'm done. I will never tell you your exercise isn't good. I am a firm believer in CrossFit because it fucking works. If you respect CrossFit, CrossFit will respect you.
yes,
But
100%.
if what is working for you is going to Zumba and you're like, dude, I'm having a blast. I'm moving an hour plus every day. Dude, fuck yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
I love
Yep.
CrossFit. I still think you should try it. But keep going to Zumba. That is
Yes.
amazing. So like those coaches that are like, your program's stupid. Dude, you are not an expert in my opinion, and you are also not mature because we have, like you said, with the child obesity, 1 out of 13 Americans is metabolically healthy. So for you to tell anybody that their exercise isn't good, get the fuck out of here, right?
Yeah.
God, we're not exercising. So if you're doing something, hell yeah. So,
Yes.
finding the coaches that are more of those opinions and they don't have this ego that's gonna be like, no, you need to do what I need you to do.
Yeah.
Dude, get out of here with that, man.
Well, yeah, because they say I want you to do what I need you to do because I think that they're more after your money. They
I
don't
think it's a
really,
money thing.
yeah,
It's a money
I
thing,
don't
and
think they care
I
about you
just
as the individual.
I really think it's an ego thing too. And I know sometimes I'll watch another coach, and like I have to go. That's not how I would have done it.
Yeah.
But did what they do work? Was it effective? And did we? There's some boxes you still need to check, but I'm like, if it was effective, I got nothing to say.
Yep.
If it was effective and people were rolling their eyes and like falling apart, that's a different scenario. So it's like you got to take your ego out of it, which can be very hard sometimes. I know I have
Yes.
strong opinions, myself, and ask yourself like, is it can this work or is it not going to work? And
Yep.
it's not about how you feel; it's about helping that person. And I think, like you said, like that's a coach who truly cares,
Yep.
and that's who you want to hire, right?
Yep. Yep. I agree. I think that for all our listeners out there that are listening to our rant at this time,
Over under
don't
two
jump.
people.
Yes. Do not jump at the first person that you see. Okay? Take time, do your research, look into their background, ask questions. Questions are important because the other thing too, what could work for Nate will not work for me because we are different. Everything needs to be tailored to you as the individual, okay? Because every lifestyle is different, your body's different, it intakes things differently. And I will say this, especially going back to nutrition, it's about trial and error, and you need to find what works for you. Okay? So for example,
And
okay,
ask yourself, trial and error, and ask yourself,
yes,
have you actually tried everything under the sun? Have you
yes,
actually done death by chicken breasts and thrusters for months on end at a time? Like, ask yourself
yes,
that real question because I think looking yourself in the mirror and being honest with yourself is one of the first steps. And I will say, most people that have told me they've tried it, I know for a fact because we all have social media. You're out drinking on the weekend, you've been traveling, all these things have been happening, and then you're going around saying, well, it doesn't work for me. And
yeah,
then you're spending all this fucking money on somebody else that's telling you all these other things and buy all these supplements and shit like that. And guess what? Guess what you're gonna come back to? Eating whole foods,
same old
getting
shit.
some exercise and sleeping.
So so two things I want to end with. One is definitely consistency. Consistency is key for your fitness,
Absolutely.
for your nutrition. That's overall what it is. Okay? You need to be consistent and like you said, Nate, you need to be honest with yourself. Look yourself in
That's
the
the hardest
mirror.
one, but like it's
It
okay
is.
to be.
And then touching on supplements. What is in that word? Supplement. Okay? It's meant to supplement your whole food intake. It's not what it's you don't take that as part as like a whole meal. If I'm not saying, am I like if you understand what I'm saying, it's supposed to
If everything's
supplement your
going
healthy
well, you
eating.
fill the gaps.
Yes,
You fill the
thank you.
cracks. I don't even want to call them
Correct.
gaps.
Correct. That's what's so a supplement is protein. Okay. Your protein powder, you should not eat. So for me, I it's like 155, 160 grams a day. I don't drink 160 grams of protein powder. I
Oh, my
have one
stomach would
scoop,
hurt.
which is 25 grams. The rest of the time, I'm getting it from my eggs, from my meat, my milk, etc. Okay, so just keep that in mind with supplements. It is filling the gaps for your micronutrients. Keep that in mind.
That's for everything, though. It's not just for food. Are
Yes.
you hitting your CrossFit Metcon with the proper intensity
Hmm.
or heavy day? Respect heavy days with the proper intensity, doing what you're supposed to be doing. If you're doing that every day, add a little extra into your training if you enjoy it. But if you're
Hmm.
not doing that, stop doing 16 pieces in your goddamn workout. Promise you, you'll become a fitter person with a very intentful one workout of the day. As I wear
I
this shirt.
yeah. I love it. Dude,
Anyway,
well, I think that wraps
I
up
think that
our rant. Any last closing statements?
no, respect the process and it'll respect you. Like Elise said, be
Yes.
consistent.
Yep.
Listen
Yep.
to your coaches. Scaling is cool.
Yeah. Scaling is
With
totally cool.
with that being
And
said,
I do have to I forgot to introduce my other co-host here, Kobe, Rocco, and
they're
Alaska, because they were playing in the
lingering around
background.
down there.
So yeah. So
That's
but
okay.
they all say hello to everybody out there. Those are my pups for those of you that don't know me. So which hopefully we will get this out there. But this was great. Nate, I look forward to the next
Yeah,
podcast, dude.
yeah. It was good talking. It was good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I ranted too bad this time. It's coming.
No,
I'm sure.
you did
Catch
good.
me at the right time.
I'm looking forward to the next one, man. All right, y'all.
All right, Elise. See you later.
See ya.